Introduction. In the annals of Islamic history, few events capture the depth of pain, perseverance, and divine support as vividly as the Prophet, Muhammad's journey to Taif. Occurring during one of the most difficult periods of his life, this journey epitomized both the harsh resistance he faced and the sublime patience and faith he displayed. This is the full story of that journey, not just the historical account of what happened, but a reflection on its meanings. Chapter 1. The Year of Sorrow, its heartbreak, and its eventual role in the greater mission of Islam. The journey to Taif took place in the 10th year of the prophethood, a time known as the Year of Sorrow, Amal Huzn. It was a year in which the Prophet Muhammad suffered two devastating personal losses: the death of his beloved wife, Khadija bint Khuwaylid, and the passing of his loyal uncle Abu Talib, his protector from the Quraysh. Khadija was more than just a wife, she was his partner, confidant, and greatest source of emotional and financial support. Her faith in him, when others doubted, anchored his mission. Her loss left him in deep grief. Abu Talib had protected Muhammad for over a decade from the hostilities of the Quraysh. Though he did not accept Islam, his tribal influence acted as a shield. With his death, the Prophet became vulnerable to physical harm and public abuse. Without these two pillars, Mecca became unbearable. The persecution of the Muslims intensified. The streets of Mecca were no longer safe for him. The Prophet now sought a new place, a haven for the message of Islam. Chapter 2. The Hope for Taif. Located about 60 kilometers southeast of Mecca, the city of Taif was known for its beauty, its climate, and its gardens. It was also a stronghold of the Thaqif tribe, one of the most powerful tribes in the region. The Prophet saw in Taif a potential new base, where his message might be received without hostility. He did not travel with an army. He did not ride into the city with wealth or weapons. Instead, he journeyed humbly on foot, accompanied only by his adopted son and companion, Zayd ibn Haritha. It was the middle of the summer, and the journey was long and difficult. Yet with every step, the Prophet held on to hope. Perhaps the people of Taif would listen. Chapter 3. The Invitation. Upon arriving in Taif, the Prophet made his way to the three brothers, who were the chiefs of the city: Abdiyalail, Mas'ud, and Habib, the sons of Amr ibn Umayr. The Prophet presented himself with dignity and grace, speaking gently and clearly about the message of Islam. He invited them to the oneness of God, to abandon idolatry, and to embrace the path of truth and justice. But instead of considering his message, the leaders mocked him. One said, "Could Allah not find anyone better than you?" Another sneered, "If you are truly a prophet, then I am unworthy to speak to you. And if you are lying, then I have nothing to say to you." Their refusal was not just a private rejection. They allowed and even encouraged the public of Taif to insult him. Chapter 4. The Humiliation. The Prophet remained in Taif for about 10 days, going from house to house, meeting with tribesmen, calling them to Islam. Yet everywhere he went, he was turned away. Not only did they reject his message, they began to insult and mock him. The people he approached set their children and street mobs upon him. Finally, as he and Zayd tried to leave the city, a mob gathered. The people of Taif, men, women, and children, lined the path and hurled insults, stones, and filth at the Prophet. Blood flowed from his blessed feet until it filled his sandals. Zayd did his best to shield the Prophet with his own body, and was wounded in the process. Humiliated, rejected, and physically hurt, the Prophet stumbled into an orchard outside the city, a garden that belonged to two Qurayshi men, Utbah and Shaybah ibn Raba'ah. They watched from a distance, but felt some sympathy and sent their Christian servant, Adas, with grapes. Chapter 5. The Encounter with Adas. The Prophet accepted the grapes with gratitude and said, "Bismillah," before eating in the name of God. Adas, surprised, said, "The people of this land do not say such words." The Prophet asked him where he was from. "I am from Nineveh," Adas replied. The Prophet smiled. "From the land of the righteous servant Yunus ibn Matajona." Adas was astonished. "How do you know Yunus?" he asked. The Prophet said, "He was my brother. He was a prophet, and I am a prophet." Adas fell at his feet and kissed his hands and head. The owners of the orchard were shocked. "He has corrupted your religion!" they shouted. But for Adas, the light had entered his heart. Chapter 6. The Dua of Taif. After leaving Taif, The prophet stopped under the shade of a tree. His heart was heavy with pain, yet it was there that he raised his hands and made one of the most beautiful and heartfelt du'as in Islamic history. O Allah, to you I complain of my weakness, my lack of support, and my humiliation before the people. O most merciful of the merciful, you are the Lord of the oppressed, and you are my Lord. To whom do you leave me? To a distant person who receives me with hostility? Or to an enemy you have given power over me? If you are not angry with me, I do not care. But your protection is more expansive for me. I seek refuge in the light of your face, by which all darkness is dispelled, and every matter of this world and the next is set right. Lest yours is the right to reproach until you are pleased. There is no power and no might except by you. This dua was not just a complaint, it was a surrender. A declaration that even if the world rejects him, if Allah is pleased with him, then it is enough. Chapter 7. The Divine Response. As the Prophet rested near Qarn, Al-Thalib, Jibril Gabriel came to him with the angel of the mountains. Jibril said, Allah has heard what your people said to you. If you wish, I can command the angel of the mountains to crush them between the mountains. The Prophet's reply was extraordinary. No, I hope that Allah will bring from their descendants people who will worship him alone and associate nothing with him. Even after rejection and assault, his heart held only hope and mercy. He came as a mercy to the worlds, and this moment was the proof. Chapter 8. Return to Mecca. After the trauma of Taif, the Prophet attempted to return to Mecca. But without the protection of Abu Talib, he needed a sponsor, someone with tribal standing to guarantee his safety. He reached out to several leaders. Some refused, but eventually a nobleman named Mutim ibn Adi accepted. He gathered his sons and armed men and escorted the Prophet into Mecca. Though Mutim was not a Muslim, his protection allowed the Prophet to re-enter the city safely. Chapter 9. The long-term impact. Though the mission to Taif seemed like a failure at the time, it was a pivotal moment. Spiritual strength. The Prophet's patience, mercy, and unwavering reliance on Allah were unmatched. Moral example. His rejection of vengeance showed his character and mercy. Future victory years later, the people of Taif would embrace Islam willingly. A lesson for all time that, even when every door seems closed, Allah opens a path. The event also preceded one of the greatest blessings in the Prophet's life, Al-Isra wa Al-Miraj, the miraculous night journey and ascension to the heavens. This divine gift came after the lowest point of his life, proving that ease comes after hardship. Chapter 10. Lessons for the Ummah. Faith in trials. The Prophet's trust in Allah in the darkest times inspires believers to never despair. Mercy over anger. He chose mercy even when revenge was permitted. Persistence in da'wah. He kept delivering the message, despite repeated rejection. Hope for the future. He saw potential in future generations, even when the present seemed bleak. Conclusion, a story of suffering and mercy. The visit to Taif was a chapter of pain, but also a chapter of growth, patience, and divine connection. The Prophet Muhammad stood as a shining example of human resilience, not powered by ego or revenge, but by truth, humility, and an unshakable bond with his Creator. His journey to Taif was not a failure, it was a seed watered by tears and blood, but one that eventually bore the fruit of faith in generations to come.